Townhouse and villas or apartments. Our clients are constantly asking us, what is the better investment and why? Obviously, they offer a completely different style of living. However, how does this correlate as an investment? Well, today we're going to have a look at different factors, their yield, the capital appreciation, and what we've seen over the last couple of years. Townhouses and villas will tend to come at a higher price point. However, they do have a lot more space in the units, and typically you will get a private outdoor living area. This is obviously a lot more ideal for a family or someone that needs that space in their unit. Whereas an apartment will give you that urban lifestyle, a lot faster living, and the entry point for apartments tends to be a lot lower. Both have made investors here in Dubai some serious money over the last few years. However, in terms of demand of the properties, the rental income, and the cycles that they have in the market, it does vary, so let's look into this. It's difficult, of course, to pull capital appreciation data when looking only at townhouses or villas because certain areas have both, so we can't just focus on areas. Let's start by going back a couple of years to August 2023 to August 2024, where we've seen townhouse and villas have 28,518 transactions, with the average price per square foot at 1,333 dirhams. Whilst apartments seen a lot more transactions, 117,160, with a price per square foot at 1,783 dirhams. So a higher price per square foot here, but obviously the units are a lot smaller. Now having a look at August 24 to August 25, we did see the townhouse and villas increase in transactions to 37,703, and the average price per square foot also increased to 1,430 dirhams. The apartments did also see an increase at 152,569 and a price per square foot of 1,848 dirhams. So analysing the data there, we can see that townhouse and villas have had a 32% increase in volume of transactions, while also seeing a price per square foot increase of 7.3%. The apartments did also see a large increase of 30%. However, the price per square foot was slightly less at 3.6. It is important to, of course, consider what off-plan projects may have been released that year, as in the current market, over 60% of the transactions are off-plan. So this may have a slight effect on this data. However, in general, to see that big a difference between 3.6 to 7.3 gives us an indication that there's a higher demand for townhouse and villas currently. Of course, capital appreciation and how the property is demanded in the current market is not the only thing to consider when making an investment. You do have your rental yields, which will pay you back your investment over time, and apartments will outperform villas in the current market. Apartments can be more attractive for clients on short term, meaning that you can achieve a slightly higher yield through this. It tends to be 1.3 times the average long term, and there's a lot of communities that will be highly demanded for apartments, such as downtown, Marina, Business Bay. So it's also important to consider that typically the townhouses and villas are going to be higher ticket, therefore they are slightly more difficult to rent out, as there's less demand, less people looking in this budget. Over here in Dubai, there's a higher volume of tourists, single professionals, expats, that a one bedroom or a studio would be much more suited. Something that can often be overlooked is the service charges and maintenance. So for apartments, you'll typically have a service charge of around 15 to 25 dirhams per square foot. Obviously, with this, you'll typically have the amenities in the building where you'll have a pool that they manage, you'll have a reception, and a lot else to go with it. Whereas with a townhouse or a villa, it'll all be yourself that manages this. So your pool will require maintenance potentially, and any landscaping across the grounds. So that will be on you. However, the service charge for townhouses and villas is a lot cheaper. It's sort of 3 to 7 dirhams per square foot. Again though, you do need to consider such costs as AC, and you will have just a larger unit in general to maintain. Keep this in mind, as your net rental yield may not be quite as good as you've initially calculated. So as we discussed earlier, apartments have around 4 times as many transactions as townhouses and villas. So there is definitely a lot more people in the market for these units. This means that there's going to be a lot more apartment buyers in the market than there will be townhouse and villas, meaning that you'll be able to resell your apartment a lot quicker than you would your townhouse and villas. Of course, there can be exceptions. You may have a unique townhouse or villa and selling it at a good price and it will fly off the shelves. However, keep this in mind, is that a townhouse or villa is likely to be on the market a little bit longer than an apartment. so your cash will be stuck in that property. So going back to the data where we have the townhouse and villas increasing at a volume of 32%. Where's this coming from? So currently in Dubai, we're seeing such a high volume of people moving over, and we have done for the last 5 to 10 years. We've seen a 55% increase in volume of people living in Dubai in the last 10 years, and we've seen 1,000 people moving per day to Dubai in the first quarter of 2025. Dubai's safety, along with its tax benefits and lifestyle that it offers, has become very attractive for people all over the world. So not only are people coming for a holiday now or a business for a short period of time and then heading home, they're looking to set up their lives here now. So a lot of families are moving over, meaning that we need more townhouse and villas. These are short in demand at the moment. Developers have realised this, and there is a lot being launched in this space. However, currently we're very short, and it does look like for the pipeline for the next couple of years we will be short also, meaning that townhouses and villas, the prices will increase. Young professionals and first-time expats are still typically going into apartments when they first come into Dubai, so you will continue to see the price rise here. As for example, if there's another 1,000 people moving per day, somewhere like downtown, what's highly demanded, you can see the Burj Khalifa's behind us, there's only so many units in this area, meaning again, not everyone can live here, and they will compete for these properties, meaning the prices will drive up. In conclusions, what's better for you? Of course, it always depends on your situation. If you're looking for a strong cash flow where the apartment's rented out at ease and it's a little bit of a lower entry point, I would recommend an apartment here. If you're after long-term capital appreciation and you've got a higher budget that allows you to get into townhouses and villas, I would potentially have a look at this market. The savviest investors, they do diversify. They tend to have apartments and villas so that they cover both bases. If you're looking for further advice on what to invest in or where to invest, click the link below and we can help you out. Further to that, if you're seeking more information, click the video above.